Do you actually have to be on cocaine to be on this podcast?
It's a great day to be a Wildcat!
Cocaine.
Durfing.
What's up, everybody? You are listening to yet another edition of Cocaine Willie, the official KState representative on the College Huddle. I am your commissioner, Bob Trollsby, and as always, I'm joined by my co-hosts, the good chef, Andre Napier, and Fireball Matt Marcassini. Tonight, we've got our Week 8 locks. We're going to be hanging out, talking some ball, just hanging out, being bros, being dudes, and just loving every minute of it. How you been, guys?
Oh, we won.
Been grand, baby. Been grand.
Been grand.
Been grand.
Oh my!
It's my new name.
Well, all right, Ben. Okay.
The hell?
Call me Ben.
Shut up.
On that note, before we get into the episode, let's give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Auntie May's Parlor. I, again, don't have a beer, so I'm not going to be cracking a beer, but you can crack a beer at Auntie May's. And if you go to 616 North 12th Street in the heart of Aggieville, they have beers there for you. They've got craft cocktails. They've got draft beer. They've got everything in between. They also have live music, comedy, and all sorts of other events every single night. Distilled. They've got a brass band called Distilled performing at Auntie May's on Saturday, October 18th. It's a bye week. You're not going to have football to watch. Who are we kidding? You're not going to watch football. Cats aren't playing. It's a free show at 7 o'clock Central Time. We've got Augustus performing next Thursday, October 23rd, and they look cool and vibey. I will just say that based on the photo I'm seeing there. Then Therapy, a quick plug, 2 or 3 weeks out, October 28th, Tuesday, Pie and Cocktails, number 2 with Therapy. Then we got Pride in the Parlor. Lots of P's right now. Pie and Cocktails, Pride in the Parlor. Thursday, October 30th at Auntie May. So 616 North 12th Street in the heart of Aggieville. 51 years running. Be sure to tell them Cocaine Willie sent you. Buy our koozies as well. Talk to your bartender. Tip your bartender. And that's all I have for the ad plug. But, guys, it's been a couple weeks since we really had a conversation about K-State football. We had our game preview last week for TCU, and now this week, and we did locks kind of asynchronously. So here we are. We just did our interview with my friend Zach to talk about college basketball officiating. So if you haven't checked that one out, check that out. It was earlier this week. But yeah, we got a couple games to talk about, or at least a game to talk about. But the Cats kind of some mixed bag results in that Baylor game and came out with a loss. And now the TCU game.
TCU.
Cats win.
Cats do win.
That's one.
We have won.
It was great.
3-4 on the year.
Not the game script I expected.
Oh, you weren't expecting
What did
Desmond Purnell to go God mode? Yeah, I wasn't.
Well, I expected it. That was
you did do that. You did do that. I don't think you expected it to this extent, though.
I mean,
he was everywhere.
He owns Josh Hoover, and we had a one game sample size prior to that because he only played in that 2023 game, and we didn't play last year. So
wait,
I spent 2 seconds researching this. I'm like, who had a great performance against Josh Hoover in 23? And it said Des Purnell had an interception. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go with Des Purnell to have a pick.
Did he play at all in the Big 12 championship?
Yeah.
Well, that was in 22, so I didn't look at 22, and that would have been Max.
I don't know if he started on that defense.
That would have been Max Duggan.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I'm just trying to think of what he's done versus TCU.
He would have been playing in that game.
He did play in that game.
Did he?
I think that was one of his first good games, if I remember right. Didn't he help on that goal line stand?
I have
Yeah.
no idea. I don't remember.
Yeah, he did.
He helped. Yeah, he helped out on that goal line stand. But
No, but to this game versus Josh Hoover and a rolling TCU team that everybody except for me thought was going to win that game.
4-1 team.
Yeah, it came out very K-State-ish way where we have opportunities down and we don't score versus a very explosive team in the first quarter. And you just think for everything, like, we have opportunities and we don't take advantage of them. Now we've got this high fly and pass it all over team that's going to score in an instant, and we're going to be down 2 scores in a heartbeat. And they did go down and score, but we responded, which that's just a home adversity thing. Like, on the road, does that kill us or what?
I do have to give you some props, Chef, because at the beginning of the season, when we did our preview, you said, I think this isn't going to be a K-State offense. I think this is going to be a Texas Tech offense, and it's not going to be a whole lot of rushing. Although the rushing games come on a little bit more of late. Joe Jackson.
In that second half, they did it. But I think it was for what, like, the point that you were getting to, they begrudgingly ran that ball.
Yeah.
They did not want, I mean, what was it at halftime? We had maybe 12, 13 rushes at halftime? Like, we didn't want to. Like, Joe Jackson could have gotten those amount of carries all throughout the game, but we gave him basically 27 at the end of the game to run out a 2-score game or a 3-score game in most parts. That's exactly what happened in the Baylor game, which we're not going to talk about, but we're going to kind of talk about it here. We're leaving a lot of time on the clock. You got 2 scores in the fourth quarter, very similar to what happened in Baylor. Same kind of thing happened in TCU. You are unwilling to run the ball because it's not in your nature from the tree that he comes from. He is a very pass first coordinator, and arguably our best player is quarterback Avery Johnson. So you want to put the ball in his hand, and you don't want to necessarily run power or gap scheme or outside zone 13 times in the fourth quarter. You kind of want to leave it in your quarterback's hand, but that's not the K-State way. But we did do it that way at home versus TCU. Look at the result. It speaks for itself at this point, Matt, right?
I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with you, but at the beginning of the game, a 41-28 for this score makes it seem like K-State really kind of dominated, or they really had the upper hand for a majority of this game. And if you look at how the first quarter and really, man, would you say maybe the first 25 minutes of that game, I felt momentum was kind of in TCU's favor. They had kind of taken control of what was a really good crowd, I felt, for homecoming, at least for, for that game and kind of how the team has been doing. But I felt TCU kind of took advantage of a little bit of the momentum until you have the touchdown and then obviously the fumble, where you really kind of, at least at the half, it's 14-7, and K-State kind of never looked back from there. The offense still gives me pause in certain aspects. You think of the first 3 drives that basically cross the 50 and you get nothing out of it. Those are very poor drives to have. You at least need to put yourself in a position where you can get a field goal, try and get some points on the board, and you just stall. Now, I can't blame Matt Wells for some of that. There was a offensive holding call that killed one of the drives. And then there was the illegal forward pass that if Avery is 1 yard back, he finds Garrett Oakley for that, to complete that play. So the offense really, I felt, definitely got its momentum in the second half, where you could see, how the run game was impacting the passing game. And you have a dynamic, or you have more of a dynamic offense where, you're seeing, when you see success running the football, that opens you up for some of these quicker, whether it's a zone read, play action type situation, it really kind of opens you up into those situations. So, to get 14 points from your defense is absolutely huge. I still would give pause to say, this was this the best game K-State's played all year? If you think of all aspects of the game, maybe, I could maybe argue that, looking at it from the defensive side, as well as think about special teams and the offense, but there's still things that give me pause. It's unfortunate that Dylan Edwards is hurt, because I think they're, for as much as we saw from Joe, he ran it 27 times in this game. And my concern is, I don't think you can run Joe Jackson consistently 27 times a game, and go through the next 5 games of the season with that. But I think it's hard not to be, you have to be happy. Like TCU, is a team that had some momentum from a Big 12 perspective. And we played the part in this game to win by 13 points. And, for Des Purnell, and, I thought the safety play was better in this game. I think some of it, I would say, is because Gunnar Maldonado got a lot more time.
Healthy. He's healthy.
And is healthy.
Finally.
No knee brace.
So I think the bye week's going to be really good to, go into the bye week with a win. You have this one game of momentum going into a huge game next weekend, to get guys healthy and really feeling positive about the performance that they put together.
And I'm not going to complain or anything, but I want to go a little bit off of what you just said, Matt. One, TCU, they didn't do themselves any favor, because it's very similar to what my complaint is with Matt Wells and the style that he brings to this Kansas State team. TCU under Sonny Dykes is a very air raid team, and they don't have the ability, even if it's working, to stay consistent with it. And who's their offensive coordinator? Kendall Briles, very air raid-esque himself. Their running back was absolutely murking us. He was doing whatever he wanted in that first half, and they absolutely just went away from him because they're doing silly things like throwing laterals out to the sideline and giving Kansas State a chance to just take the momentum, because like Matt said, TCU had it. They were the more physical team, but they just did not want to run the ball. Their ego got in the way. And then, Matt, you said something about the offense, because we did score 41 points. 14 of those were from the defense, but you said dynamic. And the definition of dynamic is the process or system characterized by constant change, activity, or progress. Is Kansas State's offense dynamic? Because in the second half of that game, when you have the ability to lean on a team and run the ball, we win games like that. But when we put it in Avery Johnson's hands and complain and that he doesn't run the ball enough, well, I know how you can make him run the ball. Call run plays for him, or run the ball.
He had a few in this game,
but it took into the second half, and they're more necessarily read options. And Baylor, for instance, when we looked our best versus that Baylor team, that long drive that we had, what was this play that he scored a touchdown on? We went to the 5-wide set, and we ran a quarterback draw on purpose. That was not an Avery Johnson scramble. That was a quarterback draw on purpose. And it's the dynamic part of it, because we have the ability to change. But when we say, hey, Avery Johnson, drop back, run this RPO, when we know it's not really an RPO, we're throwing this slant. Like, it's more one-sided. And when we are dynamic, where we can lean on a team and run the ball very 2012-esque kind of running the ball 27 times with our one running back, we look better. we look better. And mind you, that might be TCU. They might be stinky poo-poo. They might have a bad defense for all I know. But you'll never know if you don't try. So I think Matt said it perfectly. We need to be more dynamic. We need difference. We need a luxury of riches in terms of things we can go to and not just be so one-sided. But I am super happy with this game because it did show me a lot, and I think we can build off of that. I think KU stinks, and I think we're going to smash them.
Oh, my God.
I was not expecting you to break out the Merriam-Webster tonight either, by the way.
I had to. He had me thinking. He used a very good word. I don't know any synonyms for dynamic. So I like the word dynamic. It made me look it up, and I defined it, and it fit perfectly, Matt.
Zestful, vital, lively, energetic, spirited.
Matt is zesty. He's a zesty boy.
I'm a zesty boy.
Vigorous.
Oh, yes. Hell yeah. I love that. I love that TCU game though. I will be rewatching that one. Shout out to Desmond Purnell, defensive MVP, offensive MVP. Man, I'm liking what Tibbs is doing. I like Jerron Tibbs. I almost threw him in the dumpster bin with the drops earlier in the year, but I think he's stepped up. He's a real weapon in terms of a possession receiver. And yeah, Oakley might be offensive MVP. Who am I kidding?
Yeah, I mean he set the record for most touchdowns for tight end KState history.
That's insane. That's nuts.
And
yeah.
that's following up Ben Sinnott.
Yeah, I mean he's sneaky. He's sneakily statistically might be going to end up being our best tight end of all time.
And I'll mention this at least from the wide receiver perspective because you brought up Jerron Tibbs, but it was good having JB Bradley back in this game.
Yes.
I know he had 2 catches in the game. Obviously, that really great touchdown towards the end of the game. But it's interesting because you have to wonder if some of the run success has come with having more athletic wide receivers helping with blocking. And he's a guy who I think does a really good job with blocking. And you can kind of see this with Tibbs as well. But it's really good to have JB Bradley back moving forward because he does give, we've seen the flashes obviously with the athleticism and making catches, but some of the important pieces of running the football isn't just your offensive line, but it's also, how do your wide receivers are blocking, and getting running backs or Avery or whoever some space to run. So it was good to see him get some really good play in this game, especially with Jace Brown not playing a ton of snaps compared to his normal self, which I know he's been dealing with an injury. So yeah, I want to give him a few props just because, you could look at the stat line and he caught a touchdown pass, but there's other things, at play when being a wide receiver. And you kind of saw with some of the play calling, having these more blocking capable wide receivers out there is really good.
So when we last checked in and talked about, we did our quarter season award show, that whole thing, super fun. But we've got 3 Big 12 games kind of on the record now. You're 2-1, 2-2, 2-2 overall, but 2-1 through these last 3.
Yep.
How does that performance change or not change your outlook for the rest of the season?
I mean, it's very on par with what I was expecting with our home performances. And Matt said it before we started recording. The true test of this team, it's already been a disappointment. We all can establish that. But there's still some things out there that, this offseason is going to be very, very important. But leading into that offseason, what are we going to do with our road performances? And I think that is going to be crucial because the next few games, the next game that we have is going to be a real test for the character of this team and what we expect going forward, because it would be one thing to have a disappointing season. And and then it'd be another thing to have a disappointing season and the streak stop. So I think with how we've been playing these last few games, especially the last two, offense waking up, being dynamic, I think it leaves a lot out there that the team is growing. They're starting to try to find an identity where they can have everything in their at their disposal to be a more consistent offense that can throw different things at you. So I'm expecting that throughout the rest of the season. It's really, can we bring it on the road in the Big 12?
Hey, it only took 7 games to find the identity.
Jesus Christ. I mean, you're more confident than I am about next weekend, but that's like the primary thing, you know.
Yeah.
I look at some of the teams in the lower half of this conference, and, you know, if we were playing on the road at West Virginia, for example, they're not very good. But let me tell you, my confidence level on this team going to Morgantown and win a football game is not high. It's just because you look at some of the road performances this team has had, and they just kill themselves in certain situations. And you have to assume that a lot of it, you know, is being in that type of environment. And it's not necessarily the players, but I feel like there's a coaching aspect to it too, of not having a team prepared to win on the road. And so, you know, for next week, you know, we'll have our previews and stuff, but my confidence level of this team winning a game on the road, like this one in Lawrence, is not as high as yours by any means. So, you know, they really need to kill these road demons. I mean, they really do. And, you know, if you don't see it go our way next week, you have to there has to be some type of conversation that really talks about it, because this team has not won a game on the road since the Colorado game?
Yeah.
I mean, that's bad. That's not good.
Okay, so you said something interesting there, and I don't want to, you know, harp on it too much, but if you look at the team, well, it's the Big 12, so it's really hard to say that, because it's kind of all this year, not so much, because we do really have a top dog in Texas Tech. But if you look at the middle of this, middle down, does KState as a team, from where you thought at the beginning of the season, really belong with an Oklahoma State, a West Virginia, a UCF, a Colorado?
I mean,
does it?
They've dug themselves into that. Like, yeah,
no, I get it,
I would say yes. Like, you know, this TCU win boosts your standing a little bit, because TCU had shown this season, you know, some, you know, big games. But for me, like, this team has to continue winning to build that trust, or, you know, that feeling that they aren't in the same conversation with some of those teams. You know, whether they are or not. I mean, I struggle with the fact that, you know, yeah, you can win all your games at home, but it's like, if you can't win on the road, you're just you're a middle to low end team in this conference. You have to be able to perform in certain games. So
I just think, for me, when I list those teams and I think about this Kansas State team, as disappointing as we are, eventually it equals out. Right? You would think that it would equal out, and like the character of this team would come out eventually, whether it was a late start. I mean, Army's inexcusable. North Dakota, that game was almost reprehensible. Like, it just can't happen. But the team is eventually going to find its way. And I think that, because I look at that TCU performance, and there's no way a team that is at the bottom with this, like the teams that I just listed, would do that. I just can't see it. So I think the turnaround is eventually going to happen. In my head, I think the turnaround is going to happen.
Okay, so are they going to be bowling when we're chatting about this team in December? Are they going to be selected for a bowl game?
Yeah, I think that's. I don't think that's in question in my book.
They got to win 3 games. So what are the 3 wins? And you're already chalking up KU as a win.
I think KU's a win, Oklahoma State's a win, and Colorado's a win for sure.
Okay. I mean, those are the 3 that you pretty much have to get because there's only 5 on the schedule, and your other 2 are against Tech and Utah.
Utah, I think, might hit a wall. I think Utah might hit a wall.
They might hit a wall this weekend.
Yeah. The Holy War is going to be something else.
I mean, yeah, so they need 3 wins. Here, what I will say is the home crowd has really helped with the UCF game and the TCU game.
First half home crowd.
First half home crowd. Which look, I will not bash the crowd in the second half. It was hot. I mean, I remember like as a student in some big like afternoon games when I was there where the sun just kills you. It just does. That is not an excuse. I'm just saying like it was a hot day for mid-October.
For that kick time too, that's a brutal.
But I'm not saying we're going to beat Texas Tech. But I will say that if the team comes out and you have what I feel like you have a really good home environment in the Big 12, like really good. If the team comes out with that type of effort against Tech, it's going to be really interesting going into the fourth quarter. I mean, yes, I think Tech is above and beyond the best team in the Big 12. But I also see I see a home advantage actually really being in play, especially, at the beginning of November, where like, let's say you go and beat KU next weekend. You have a lot of momentum going into that game. And so I think we can win 3 games, to kind of finish off, the year. You're just really confident about KU, and I just am not there.
This is what I see. KU, I think they're a more physical team than they were last year. But all in all, I don't think they have the mental fortitude to get over the hump of I listened to a couple K-State podcasts, and they were talking about this. Who has the most pressure in that game? A disappointing K-State squad that has the streak behind them, that's feeling that pressure of not wanting to lose the streak, or a KU team that also is kind of disappointing, but they feel the pressure of, if it's not this year, when the hell can you ever beat K-State? And that is a fear that I don't know a lot of teams can get over when you haven't seen a W versus a certain team in a while.
Yeah.
And mind you, I mean, we have a streak versus Texas Tech.
I was just going to say the same thing because you've got the streak with Tech too, but I don't know. This is something that popped into my head this week when I was just driving around listening to K-State podcasts of, we have been spoiled so many times. How fun would it be, even though this has been a disappointing season, how fun would it be, despite the fact this could probably have negative implications for the Big 12, to play spoiler to Tech or a Utah in this season that, especially for Tech, they're being talked about as a Final Four team in the CFP, competing for a national title at this point.
Yeah, I mean, deservedly. I mean, the role of the spoiler, we haven't really got to do that in football recently. I think it would be
the OU season. Was that the last time we were?
Yeah, I mean, when OU was in here, yeah, those were always the.
I mean, there have been top 10 teams that have come to Manhattan.
Sure.
I think for a K-State perspective, like if you win next weekend and let's say you beat Texas Tech, you see the run that this team could go on. I'm not confident in either one of those actually happening, but
the what if is really funny.
Is very funny because
it exists. It's plausible.
Yeah, it is a very funny kind of what if,
And the thing about that K-State Texas Tech game, especially if you beat KU, is the game script that Texas Tech has had kind of lends itself to Kansas State's favor because we're not necessarily the best against the run, but I've seen Baron Morton crap the bed. I've seen that quarterback that they have now throw a one-handed pick to VJ Payne. Oh, no, that was a different one. But nevertheless, I think Texas Tech likes to run the ball, and when you're on the road, and if the run is somewhat not there, and you put the pressure on a quarterback that's been able to cherry pick his way through wins this season in the Big 12, if the pressure is on for them, I just it's a lot of stuff that could go into my brain and spew out a lot of W's for this team. But it first starts with this bye week. And I think we're going to win that one. And then I think we're going to beat KU. I honestly do think that.
Oh, boy. Someone call up Bill. Someone get Bill Snyder in the room. Have him doing what he did for game prep for KU for all those years, like playing the loudspeakers, super, super crazy loud. I feel like we need to channel that energy if we're going to have a chance.
They always have somebody. That would be actually really, really cool. Because they always have somebody come to the locker room and give the best motivational speech before the KU game. If Bill Snyder just strolls in there, and I mean, his old decrepit self gives a ripping speech, I don't know what I would do, but that one would go down in the halls of my brain.
The halls. All right. Okay. Let's move on to week 8 locks. A little recap of week 7. Not a fun week really for any of us. The winners of the week were Chef and I, both with a 2-3 record overall. And Matt is the bag boy. First time this season.
What a shame.
Wow.
You're muted.
Wow.
Sponsored by Whole Foods.
Bag boy, don't speak. Not a sponsor. Could be. It's so creepy. It's what's not in the bag.
He's got. Oh God.
Oh God. Spooky season over here. All right, week 7 locks. Let's recap. Chef and I 2-3. I had TCU -1.5 versus KState. That did not hit. I had BYU -1.5 at Arizona. That was a little backdoor cover action. Fun outcome in that one. Go Cougs, I guess. Iowa State -2.5 at CU. Colorado stormed the field against the number 22 ranked Iowa State Cyclones. Incredibly embarrassing look for the Buffs there, and our guest from earlier this week said it was tacky that his alma mater did that. National game, I had OU +2.5 versus Texas and Red River. That did not hit. Texas continues to own Oklahoma the last couple of years, and Brent Venables is burnt vegetables yet again. Sicko game, I've got Eastern Michigan +1.5 versus Northern Illinois, and my guy, Noah Kim, got the dub against the Huskies. So Eastern Michigan kept me from being bag boy this week. Matt, well, I'll get to Chef first because he was 2-3, better record. He had K-State +1.5. He faded a couple of our picks. He had Texas Tech -14.5. Those both hit. The rest of them did not hit. Arizona State, he had +5.5.
I took that earlier in the week before I knew Sam Levitt was out. That's not really my fault.
Okay, fair enough. Cool. Still +5.5. Still didn't hit. National game, you had Bama -3.5.
That's a sick one, too. I mean, it had the lead, and then Missouri just scores a touchdown at the end of the game. Does nothing for anybody. Why do that?
Classic Dorkwitz. Dorkwitz move right there with them hosting Alabama. The Sicko game, you had 0-6 Oregon State. You had them +2.5, but in parentheses said hammer the money line versus Wake Forest, who I believe is 4-2 now on the season.
Yeah, and then Oregon State, who is 0-6, lost by, I think they lost by like almost 40, and I said hammer the money line.
And they are now 0-7. 0-7. Matt went 1-4. I'll start with your one win. You had BYU -1.5 at Arizona with the backdoor cover there. So congratulations to you for that one. The rest of them, TCU -1.5 versus KState. That did not hit along with mine. Cincinnati -10.5 versus UCF, and UCF loses that game by 9 in a nasty display.
Boo.
UCF had 11 points on the board, which is also 20 to 11 was the final. Just a disgusting scoregami sounding score there. Your national game, you had Oregon -6.5 versus Indiana, who steamrolled Oregon in Autzen Stadium, which was also just wild. Kurt Cignetti, Penn State's next head coach. Sicko game, you had the North Texas Mean Green in the the Friday night special versus USF. Keep it rolling green. They did not keep it rolling.
It was tied at the half. And they lost by 30 points.
They lost by 30 points.
Like, that's an impressive display.
That is a feat. It is a feat. Unmatched by many others. Chef, I'm going to let you kick off your locks. You haven't gotten to do this much.
I don't ever really get to do this. I think I did it week 1, and that was about it. So I am going to start the Big 12 section with West Virginia +7.5 versus UCF on the road. I think they're both really bad programs in flux right now. That's just, I don't know how West Virginia loses by 2 scores here. It's I don't see how it's possible. I think they're going to keep it. Probably going to be a field goal game. I think they still end up losing.
Technically,
Bag boy, don't speak.
It could be 1 score, and they still lose. I'm just being specific.
Yeah, that's very true. I guess 8 points right there does get UCF the cover. Then I'm going TCU. What's the versus Baylor? What do they fight for? A skillet or no? That's SMU. This is
the Blue Bonnet Classic. Formerly known as the Revivalry. In a very unofficial capacity.
Noon o'clock on the 18th. Give me TCU minus the 2.5. I think they bounce back. I think Baylor very fraudulent. I think they are very fraudulent. I think TCU clears this one. Now we're getting spicy here. And Tech, only 7.5 point favorites versus maybe a Sam Leavitt-less Arizona State squad that just got absolutely pimp slapped last week. There's no chance Texas Tech doesn't win by multiple scores here. Give me Texas Tech. They're going to keep it rolling. They're going to find their way to Manhattan undefeated, but I'm taking Tech this week minus 7.5. My national game, I went on the Bosco's Boys program in the preseason and picked my dream road college football dream road trip or whatever, and I said that Notre Dame versus USC is probably how I look at rivalries in college football, the most iconic looking in my head. And I caught some flack for that, but I think Notre Dame, this is a matchup that is just, it's beautiful. Neither one of them want to play defense, but I just think Notre Dame is the more physical team. I think they can run it out at the end, but I think they do cover this 9.5 point spread. It's a big number, but I think USC kind of garbage. If we're being honest, they're kind of garbage. I think if Illinois can do it, Notre Dame can do it. Trust me on that
They'll
one.
be keeping that jeweled shillelagh in South Bend.
The shillelagh. And then I'm going Sicko game here. ECU minus 17.5 versus the Cowboy Killers of Tulsa. Yeah, this one just screamed, why is this line so big? ECU's 3-3. I mean, what have they done? What is Tulsa doing right now to deserve this? But I think ECU, I'm going to start taking these big spreads and just start taking them. Like, there's got to be something somebody knows in Vegas. So give me ECU, the Pirates. Take them out to the the Bermuda Triangle and drown them.
I was going to say the woodshed, but yeah, that'd be Bermuda. That's more geographically appropriate. And Chef on the season so far is at 13-22 overall through 7 weeks. I'm currently at 17-18 overall. Matt's still in the lead, but 1-4 makes the gap a little bit closer. 21-14 overall. All right, my locks. I'm going to start with the Houston Cougars against the Arizona Wildcats. I don't know why the Houston Cougars are 1.5-point dogs playing the Arizona Wildcats, who got steamrolled by an Iowa State team that got beat by Colorado. We're starting to do fuzzy math here, but Houston's only losses to Texas Tech. I just don't understand why they're dogs at home to a team that's not, I don't think, that good, and their only signature win is against KState. So, yeah, I just don't really see that. Arizona's just coming off the loss of BYU. Yeah, give me the Cougs 10 times out of 10 there. BYU, they are plus 2.5-point dogs to in-state, basically crosstown rival, the Utah Utes in the Holy War, which is being played this weekend. Again, BYU, I feel like this is home team wins it, and I think BYU's kind of cooking right now. So I'm gonna go with the other Cougs. We got Cougs and Cougs in this matchup, or in these first two picks. So I'm gonna take BYU plus 2.5. I'm getting home dogs. I've got a couple of home dogs this week, and then I've got another one for my national, but I'll get to that here in a second. And then Texas Tech is minus 7.5 at Arizona State. I don't think Arizona State is quite what they've been cracked up to be in the offseason this year. And kudos to Scott Wildcat for calling them for kind of fraud watch there. And Texas Tech, I think they're going to open up the floodgates a little bit in this one because they're rolling. National game, I've got Georgia Tech plus 1.5 at Duke. They are at Duke. So yeah, not a home dog. They are road dogs though. And Duke is not. I mean, Duke's fine, I guess, but Georgia Tech's better. So, yeah, I don't get why they're dogs. Home field advantage. Yeah, Yellow Jackets all day. Sicko game. South Florida coming off of the 30-point drubbing of what? What, bag boy? Why are you doing this?
I thought South Florida played. Hold on.
They're playing Florida Atlantic. South Florida is playing Florida Atlantic. They're 21.5-point favorites. Similar to Chef, I'm just going to take the points on that one. They steamrolled North Texas after being basically tied at halftime. So I don't see why they can't replicate that effort against a much worse Florida Atlantic team. So, yeah, go the Bulls, I guess.
Go Bulls.
All right, bag boy.
Okay, it's very funny because FanDuel has it listed incorrectly.
What do they have?
They have Memphis playing USF this weekend.
I have Memphis playing UAB.
But on FanDuel, they have it incorrect.
Is that a look ahead line?
I mean, I just looked at all the ones for. All right. Well, fuck me.
This plays South Florida the week after this, so next week.
Oh my god.
So it's a look ahead line.
Now I don't like anything that's going on right now. God,
yeah, that is his national game.
Now I'm like absolutely screwed here. So what am I gonna do? All right. You know what? We're just gonna figure it out.
Was your national game? Was a look ahead line?
I swear to God, it said 2:30 game. Wow, that's crazy.
Well done. All
right. Well, my Big 12 games, I'm taking the Houston line, 1.5-point favorite at home versus Arizona. That seems asinine to me. I'm going to take BYU to cover their 2.5-point dogs at home versus Utah. No idea why. BYU. And then I'm going to take UCF to cover 7.5 versus a not very good West Virginia team. I don't know why. I believe in Cam Fancher and the UCF Knights. My national game of the week. Well, the other one that I was gonna pick. Oh my god, this is so annoying to me. Oh, I'm gonna be bullied into this. All right. So I believe I saw Alabama was a 6.5-point favorite at home versus Tennessee. So I'm gonna take Alabama to cover 6.5. That may be 7.5. I'm gonna have to double check that on FanDuel. I'm gonna take Alabama to win the game and cover. I believe it's 6.5.
I got it right now at where's that? I got it at 7.5.
All right, 7.5.
I mean, if you see it at 6.5, I believe you.
I saw Memphis playing South Florida this weekend, so I trust you. And then my Sicko game of the week, I don't think there's anything better than covering a Sicko game of the week in the Big Ten. The Iowa Hawkeyes are 2.5-point favorites at home versus the James Franklin-less Penn State Nittany Lions. James Franklin-less and Drew Aller-less.
Oh, was it an Achilles or did he break his ankle?
I don't remember, but he's going to be an interesting transfer quarterback coming in somewhere next year.
Isn't he a senior?
Oh, is he?
I think he is.
Oh, well, that stinks for him.
Let me see. Drew.
You know, anybody can get another year these days.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, probably.
Anybody can get another year these days. Is he actually a senior?
Except for Kennedy Taylor.
Except for Kennedy Taylor. This is his senior year. Yeah, I guess he has 4 years.
Or Tyreek Smith.
I don't know. Drew Aller, you will be an Arkansas Razorback next year.
Whoa. Oh,
No,
he's
he's from Ohio, honestly.
and he's a Pisces too. So
Drew Aller, you will be a Minnesota Golden Gopher next year.
Okay.
he's from Medina.
All right.
Medina. All right. Just recapping player prophecies. We had our first one like fully come true this week, and it was
I love
Desmond Purnell having an interception. I did not be as specific as to say that it should be a pick six or that it would be 2 pick sixes.
Mute it, Matt. Jeez, your typing is loud.
Two picks, one being a pick six. VJ Payne, Chef, you had VJ Payne with a pick six. That didn't happen. He had a great game, though. Lots of tackles. He's flying around there. And Matt had 3 tight end touchdowns. We had 2. Very, very close.
That's close. That's close.
6% of the way there.
I was the farthest one off, but I mean, kind of say there was going to be a pick six. I mean, if we combined our 2, Bob, we're right there.
If ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we don't have a hell of a fun. Is that a bug assault?
Sorry.
What are you zapping over there?
No, I had a fly right here. Not anymore. Gonzo.
Matt just committed murder on the pod. All right. That's no player prophecies this week unless there's any final words or any other, just random predictions for this weekend that could happen in the college football ether.
I mean, I think I know you kind of touched on it just a second. I jokingly about Cignetti going to Penn State. There will be some crazy carousel that happens this season.
Yeah.
It's going to be because last year wasn't really anything that I can even remember that was significant.
Nothing major.
Yeah. So this year we better buckle up. I mean, there's going to be a lot of moving parts.
Penn State, UCLA, Arkansas,
Oklahoma State. I mean, if you want to keep it relevant,
Florida
will open up.
They are floating.
More likely, Nebraska will be opening up because I think that's going to fill for the Penn State. In my opinion, I think that's going to be Matt Rule's job to lose.
I agree.
Outside shot, Marcus Freeman leaves
Notre
Dame.
No way.
Why no?
No way.
Why no?
Notre Dame has more money than God. He
became a Catholic. He's not leaving Notre Dame. He's like.
No, I think there's a possibility of it because if you think about,
you're not that.
Okay.
No way.
No, but think about his losses that he's mustered up at Notre Dame. He's lost some really, really bad teams. Marshall, NIU.
They still made it to the national championship game last year after losing to NIU.
But listen to what you're saying. Penn State was 1 pass away from being in the.
It doesn't matter.
No, it does matter because they just fired.
That's a downgrade. If he goes to Penn State, I think that's a downgrade.
And why would you leave a place where you have a pretty solidified standing to go to a place that fired a coach that went
to the semifinal? Ask Brian Kelly.
I mean,
they were not on the board.
What has he done at
No,
LSU?
I'm not saying I didn't say what Marcus Freeman would do at Penn State, but I'm saying I think he has, from a perspective of college football playoff, there's more guarantees when it comes to a good program in the Big Ten than Notre Dame loses this weekend to USC. They're cooked. They can never make they can never make it. Penn State, somehow loses 3 games, but one of them's out of conference and they're a 2-loss team in the Big Ten. They win their Big Ten championship. They can still get in. Notre Dame does not have that option, and they play an outrageous schedule mostly every year. I mean, we poo-poo it, but it is significantly harder than a lot of the teams that we're talking about. I'm just giving you the points that I'm thinking about, that Marcus Freeman could find his way into the Big Ten closer.
No way.
I that's just what I'm thinking. What I'm thinking.
I think it's easier for Notre Dame to make the playoff as an independent team than for Penn State, who every year plays Ohio State and
not every year. They don't necessarily play them every year. They do get close, but it might be. They might actually play every year.
I think Marcus Freeman's got a pretty good gig in Notre Dame. I think he's got a lot of leeway with that program.
I don't know if he does.
I really do. I mean, the fact of the matter is, like,
you think about how much the fan base is upset with these inexplicable losses to G5 programs at home, and then you follow that national championship appearance with a 3-loss or a 4-loss season that he could have this year.
I mean, think about it this way. You mentioned inexplicable losses to G5 programs. How familiar does that sound to K-State fans right now? And you're losing some of those games at home, but Kleiman wins a Big 12 championship, and until things unraveled the first 4 games of this season, people would have built a statue for the guy.
I'm gonna give you this.
He would almost deserve it, though, Bob. I mean, if he doesn't have the season that he's having right now, we're 5-1, 6-1. Are you talking the way you're talking?
But what I'm saying is, think about that, and that's K-State scale. Think about that for Notre Dame. Like, I think are perfectly
Notre
happy.
Dame and K-State.
I think they're perfectly happy going to the college football playoff final and losing, but as long as he continues to build towards something, I don't think fans are going to get that upset about it, because
look at this.
Competing.
It's not about. I don't think his job's on the line at Notre Dame necessarily. I mean, if he loses to USC this weekend, I think there's some talk about it. But this is what I'm talking about. I think that at Penn State, I think there's more security at Penn State.
Oh my!
Because
God.
I think he's a significantly better coach than James Franklin. Do you disagree that he is a better coach?
I think he's a better coach. But
okay. So this is Penn State's philosophy. The reason why they're not the top tier program in the Big Ten or in the nation is because they've had a coach that is ranked appropriately the 12th best head coach in the country. He doesn't beat the good guys, and until this season, he's losing to the bad ones. I mean, he's beating the bad ones, but he's not beating the good ones. Marcus Freeman, if they're dreaming that they can do better than James Franklin, is where you would want to go.
I'm just going to end it with this. Notre Dame lost the first 2 games of the year, started 0-2. They've won the past 4 here. If they beat USC, their final 5 games are at Boston College, Navy at home, at Pitt, versus Syracuse, and at Stanford. They are 13th in the country right now.
No, I get it.
Like the way that they schedule, they get the ACC opponents, yes, but the way that they have the flexibility to schedule every year gives that job so much more weight than Penn State.
Yes.
And I also look at it this way. Like, you think about Penn State's success, and they've kind of hit a ceiling when you think about it, of like last year making it to the Final 4 teams. You know, they go to the Rose Bowl, like they have this type of success. I think Penn State probably is going to give Marcus Freeman a call, but I think he would be absolutely insane to take it.
I don't think he would be.
It just feels like Penn State's fans and administration are so irrational and delusional in their expectations. It's not to say that they shouldn't be expecting to compete in that upper echelon of the Big Ten, but I mean, firing your coach with your team being ranked in the top 20, like mid-season, that just screams like you are full of delusion at this point. He was in the college football semifinal last year. Like, you are firing this guy?
They looked real bad the past 2 games. Like I think a lot of it kind of stemmed from, okay, you lose this heartbreaking game to Oregon at home. Like, and the thought process of James Franklin can't win the big game just continues.
Yep.
And then
Fair.
James Franklin can't win against the worst team in the Big Ten and the third worst team in the Big Ten. I think it just like all goes together where you're like, he's not the guy. I mean, I'm sure they're going to give some really big names some calls, but I think it's going to be Matt Rule's.
I think it'll be Matt Rule as well. I think that's but the problem with that is you're firing a coach, paying the buyout, which we don't know exactly how the buyout works. We're not lawyers and we don't look over contracts all day.
I can tell you exactly how it works.
I should have known. But you're paying some buyout. You're, taking care of half his salary if he takes a job, whatever. You don't do that if you don't think you can upgrade and shill out whatever it takes to get a premium head coach that you think can take you to that dystopian level of, arrogance that you have. Like, to think that Penn State, who hasn't won anything since Joe Pa, deserves a premium head coach and can do those things. So I think they kick the tires. I think they do everything in their power, and Matt Rule is always going to be there. There's no world where you can offer the job to 132 other head coaches, and if they all say no, Matt Rule will still say yes.
And they're going to have to wait 3 years to have a good season because Matt Rule's success only comes in the third season, as we all know.
Well, Nebraska might be the asterisk on his little resume then, because I don't know if they're going to be too much hot this year. I think they might lose this week.
Do you think Dylan Raiola becomes a Nittany Lion? Any chance in hell?
Well, he's a Husker through and through, and then his dad was a Husker, right?
He was committed to Georgia originally.
No, his dad wasn't a Husker.
His uncle was a Husker. His uncle was an offensive lineman for the Huskers.
Yeah, it was the center, and he played for the Lions. That's not his dad.
He's got to be within a 3-hour radius of Patrick Mahomes. So,
I think we played the Steelers every once in a while.
Maybe it was his dad.
He will be a Missouri Tiger next season.
I thought it was his uncle. But
I thought it was his dad, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, he's the son of Dominic Raiola, who played for Nebraska and won the Remington Trophy.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think
nephew of Donovan Raiola, who is the offensive line coach for Nebraska.
Yes,
that was the tie-in.
Yeah.
And they decided to lean into NIL. Like,
man, if Marcus Freeman takes this job, what are you going to say to me, Matt?
Wow, you finally got one right for once. What do you want me to say?
That
you finally got one.
I'm Nostradamus of the ball.
Oh,
I know things in the future. I get these right every once in a while. So
they should hire the guy from Georgia Tech.
I think the guy from Tulane's out. I think he's going to go. Summerall, I think he's going to North Carolina.
Oh, I think he's going to get I think the Florida job is going to be his.
Summerall, really?
I think he's an SEC guy.
You think they're going to go back to the G5 well, though, because they've gone that route a couple times now.
Yeah, Billy Nate. Yeah,
I think they got to go for I think they'll probably go for some bigger names, but in the grand scheme of things, I think he's probably the hottest commodity for a group of 5 coach.
Well, the thing about I think Florida will probably lean more towards the guy from UCF. Or USF. Sorry.
Golish, yeah.
Alex Golish, yeah.
Yeah, I think he's going to end up being that Florida guy. I think Tulane guy is going to. Summerall is going to. I think it's Summerall. I keep saying. I might say his name wrong. Yeah, Summerall's going to Carolina when Bill Belichick finally steps down. I think Arkansas is open. I think
Auburn's
if Bobby Petrino is the full-time head coach there, this world is we need the rapture to happen immediately because something is terribly wrong with this world of Bobby Petrino. If he comes in with a neck brace on and like his face is skidded up again, that would be just the funniest like Halloween costume Bobby Petrino could pull off.
Mike and Cale Gundy, you are Arkansas Razorbacks. All right, with that, we are going to get out of here. Once again, a shout out to our sponsor, Antimaze Parlor. For a full list of their upcoming events, visit their website, www.antimaze.com. Additionally, we are the KState representative on the College Huddle, the largest community of fan-driven content in America. Go to thecollegehuddle.com or find them on social media at College Huddle. And last but not least, you can follow our show at Cocaine Willie or follow us individually. I'm at Bob Trollsby. Chef is at Chef Andre Napier. And Fireball Matt is at Matt Marchesini. Chef.
Cocaine's a hell of a drug, baby.
We are all Coke and no joke. Wildcat Country. What?
Let's ride.
Let's ride.